Tanya Karajnia, what was it, about 8 years ago, one of their chief finance ministers, one of their chief think tank people, came out and said there's a $300 trillion group. They're the Illuminati. They call themselves the Deadhead Group, which translates into the English to skull and bones, the skull and crossbones, the Deadhead. And that they are planning to sell derivatives and destroy the world economy. I mean, that was in Newsmax, WorldNet Daily, Infowars.com. Rick Wiles covered it 8-9 years ago. And, I mean, I just forget how right we've all been about what these people were planning and shifting gears. What does this signify, Bob? Because it's old news for our listeners and our audience and people that read your International Forecaster newsletter. But what does it signify to now have the UN, CNN, ABC News, AP, Reuters, all announce Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday today? It's made national news. Our story is one of the top stories on Drudge. Dollar plunges after UN call to ditch greenback. All of this is happening. So what does it signify that they're coming out and saying, okay, all the currencies are going to stay, but they're going to be devalued, and a private group of banks is going to run it, and it's going to be world government, as Herman von Rompuy said last November, the head of the EU. And you will now pay your carbon taxes to us, and we will have a new SDR over the whole globe. I mean, this is a private group of bankers that have created the fraud, openly announcing the takeover of our currency. This is the highest form of economic takeover, and everyone involved in the government is guilty of high treason.
And that's absolutely so. It doesn't mean they're going to be successful in doing what they're doing. They're having to expedite their program for the very reasons that you and I have discussed over and over again, and that is we're letting people know exactly what they're doing, how they're doing it, and what they expect as a final product. I think that you have to look at the directions that they've gone in recently. I think Greece blew up in their face, and they still may very well lose, they being the Illuminists, the services of Papandreou, because I keep on drilling them over there to get rid of them. And maybe that will have an effect. But that's what they need to do, and they need to default, get out of the euro, go to the drachma, and also cut expenses in government by 30%.
Yeah, for those that don't know, explain to them that Goldman Sachs has its officials that 10 years ago set Greece up, now actually running the takeover and the handover of 600 islands.
That's correct. And, of course, the puppet master in this game is not only Goldman Sachs, but the Bilderberger Papandreou. And I told him, I said, if you have, they just did another documentary. I don't think it's been released yet. But I told him, I said, if you can impeach him, however you do it, get rid of him. And you don't want to let any of your islands go for 20 or 30 cents on the dollar to a group of Illuminists.
Well, I mean, literally, they swindle them selling them these derivatives, and then the country is selling the islands to the heads of the brokerage firms by name that set them up. I mean, they should be calling for these people's arrest, not giving them their islands and their highways.
Hi, this is Alex Jones. Did you know that the global elite are now storing non-hybrid seeds in secret storage vaults near the Arctic Circle? Did you know that in a real meltdown, non-hybrid seeds can become more valuable than silver or gold? It's true, seeds have outperformed even gold and silver before in this country, and it's possible that it could even happen again. So our friends at Solutions from Science have put together the perfect mix of non-hybrid seeds. They call it a survival seed bank, and it can produce an endless supply of nutrient-dense food for you and your family. And here's the best part. These seeds have not been genetically modified in any way, and you actually get enough seeds to plant a full-acre crisis garden. So visit them today at survivalseedbank.com. That's survivalseedbank.com, or give them a call at 877-327-0365. That's 877-327-0365. Remember, in a real crisis, non-hybrid seeds are the ultimate barter item. This is Alex Jones for survivalseedbank.com. The Fall of America and the Western World is an all-new 10-hour documentary and survival guide rolled into one. In this film, you will see the reasons why our government is failing and what you can do to prepare. featuring Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, Joseph Farah, David Icke, Naomi Wolf, G. Edward Griffin, Doug McIntyre, Mark Crispin Miller, Mickey Z, Doug Casey, David McElvaney, and myself, Alex Jones. Protect yourself and get the tools you need to protect your family from these difficult times. The Fall of America and the Western World at www.thefallofamerica.net or click on the banners at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Again, that website's www.thefallofamerica.net or call 800-655-1577. Prepare yourself and the ones you love today. Fallofamerica.net.
Originally, we the people have entrusted government to be the guardians of currency, to ensure purity, content, weights, and measures of gold and silver coins citizens would use for commerce. This reinstalled confidence after the demise of the fiat continental system, wisdom being lost with time. The government we once entrusted to protect from counterfeit has colluded with private business, creating the largest fiat counterfeiting scheme our country ever experienced. This is not only a transfer of power to an institution that is not accountable to our elected government, but has also caused the dollar to lose more than 90 cents of its original value. Now, foreign governments are trying to divest themselves from this once world reserve currency. Hi, this is Ted Anderson. I'm offering a book that explains how the system works. Call me today at 800-686-2237. I will give you a silver dollar free just for purchasing the book. Call today at 800-686-2237. Again, that's 800-686-2237.
The problem.
How do I cook food without power?
How do I light my home with no electricity?
How do I get emergency radio broadcasts?
How can I make safe drinking water?
When your power goes out, the solution for cooking, baking, home lighting, listening to the radio, and producing clean water is the Family Emergency Kit from Karo Stove. Karo Stove has been in business for over 12 years with the largest selection of kerosene stoves and family preparedness supplies in the U.S. Now, get the Family Emergency Kit at KEROstove.com for only $4.29 plus shipping, a savings of nearly $200. It's perfect for off-the-grid living. Call 888-395-1164 today. That's 888-395-1164 and ask about weekly specials or check the specials online each week at KEROstove.com. Again, call 888-395-1164 or go to KEROstove.com. Karo Stove for family emergency solutions.
He's the T-Rex of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Coming up in the next segment, we're going to be taking some of your phone calls, and I'm going to play this clip and get Bob Chapman's take on it of Congressman Pete Stark. You've seen little clips on the news the last 2 days, but we have the whole 10-minute exchange posted up at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com, where he just says there's no problem with the border, and anybody that wants to control the border wants to kill people. I mean, their propaganda is just arrogantly delivered. It's asinine. And we see this throughout history where elites get into trouble. A lot of times they just become even more arrogant. And that only hastens their implosion. But Bob, I'm starting to think more and more Gerald Celente may be right again, putting a date on it. We've seen top New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and other writers saying we are in the Greatest Depression or the Third Depression. Obama's now calling it the Greatest Recession. By every yardstick, as you said 2 years ago, we are in a depression. Do you think they may announce it? Because they're now saying they're not going to have a second stimulus, which you've said would put this off another year.
Well, first of all, I think if they are going to say we're in a depression, they're going to wait until they start their war and then blame the depression on the war. That's logical, and that's what they've done before. And so that might be an up-and-coming event that may start out in a limited way with Iran and may spread. Russia may be brought into it, and the recent apprehension of these spies might be a lead into that, as you indicated it could be a lead into something. And so, you know, the groundwork is there, and they could very well go ahead with it, but I don't think they're going to use the word depression. maybe Paul Krugman can in the New York Times, and but I don't think you're going to see it officially coming out from any important illuminist or the President of the United States until it's time. And as far as stimulus in the economy, I don't think under present circumstances they can get the stimulus they want, although maybe